Hello and welcome to StudyIQ. I am your friend Rahul Saigaonker. Let's continue our discussion of NCERT Science series. You already know we have reached class 8 NCERT where we are doing chapter by chapter analysis. And in our previous discussion, we focused on chapter 16, that is light. In fact, we discussed the chapter of light in class 6 also, 7 also. We have been slowly and steadily building our knowledge of physics. And in class 8, our prime focus was on understanding reflection. I hope you remember the chapter. We discussed about loss of reflection, irregular reflection, regular reflection, multiple reflection, applications of that, how we see things around us. We see majority of the things because of reflected light. All these things were understood. We also discussed the anatomy, or we went inside the eye and understood some of the characteristics of our vision. Let's move on and now discuss about chapter 17, stars and solar system. By now, you must already have some knowledge about this, because if you're preparing for UPSC civil service examination, if you've started with your geography, you must know about these things because it is covered in geography also. Here, in this interaction, we are going to focus on understanding celestial objects, celestial bodies. We'll focus on moon, we'll focus on understanding stars, different planets, what are the different constituents of our solar system, what is sun, and what are the different kinds of planets. So this discussion is mostly celestial or heavenly. Let's begin our interaction. But before that, please remember today is the ultimate day, that is the last day for getting yourself enrolled for the prelims 2 interview batch. Both batch 6, the morning batch, and batch 7, the evening batch, is closing out. Whatever suits you, do select it as soon as possible. Do not be in two minds. Do not dilly-dally. It's now or never. Why? Because this is the most comprehensive batch where we will be preparing you for prelims, mains, interview. Entire course is designed in such a way that if you clear your prelims, the mains resolution program would be carried out by StudyIQ. You will be called to the StudyIQ center. All the expenses would be borne out by StudyIQ. There is also mock interview preparation. There is current affairs program. There is prelims test series, mains test series, everything included. And it is priced at 29,999. In fact, month-end sale is also going on. If you use my code Rahul Live, you are going to get additional discount on this as well. So don't miss out this opportunity. Enroll today. I'll see you in the class. Right. Let's begin our discussion. As I told you, today's discussion is about stars and solar system. We all gaze at sky in the night. At least I have a habit. At least once in a month, when you go up on your terrace, you simply see the stars in the night. And if you're in a metropolitan city, you seldom see stars because of the pollution, right? But do have that habit sometimes. Just go out, gaze the sky, right? You will see in the night sky, you will see stars. You might also observe, if you have learned this, from next time when you observe the sky, you will be able to identify the pole star or the north star, and some planets, I would say especially Venus, and some constellations as well. Now, all these things, the stars, the planets, moon, etc., these are called celestial objects. There are other terms also for this, celestial objects, or they're also called as astronomical objects or stellar objects or heavenly bodies. And the study of these is called as astronomy. I'm quite sure you must have read in your history that India was very well known in its astronomy, right? Talk about Aryabhatta, talk about Bhaskara, talk about other sages or other persons, experts in astronomy. Now, based on this itself, even during the ancient time, during the medieval time, simply looking at the sky, people used to tell about the seasons, about the months, about the calendar basically, right? That's the study of celestial objects, study of sky, solar system. That's the astronomy. All right. So astronomical objects can be stars, nebulae, galaxies, asteroids. We'll know about this in our future interactions as well. But the most important body in the night sky is moon. Of course, we are on Earth. We cannot see Earth from outside, but from Earth we can see moon. And moon, it is the biggest and the brightest body that we see in the night. Correct? Yes. Moon is the only celestial place where humans have actually set foot. We have not gone to Mars, of course, meaning humans have not placed their foot on Mars. We have already sent orbiters, rovers, landers, but no person has visited any other planet or any other celestial body apart from Moon. Only 12 people have been to Moon till now. And in the night sky, moon is the brightest and the largest object. Moon plays a very important role. We all tell that Earth is a habitable planet. We know that there is life which is existing on the planet. We are a testimony of that. We are evidence of that, right? But a lot of it, or the big credit for this also goes towards moon. Why? Because if moon was not there, moon is the natural satellite of Earth, and moon has some sort of a gravitational effect on Earth. Moon ensures habitability of Earth by reducing by moderating the home planet. That means Earth's wobble on its own axis. You do know that Earth revolves around its own axis or spins around its own axis. And because of moon's gravity, there is a moderating effect on the wobbling of Earth on its own axis. Apart from that, moon also plays a very important role on tides, right? We know that. Some facts about the moon. We know that there is sun. Everything in our solar system is revolving around the sun. That means Earth is revolving around the sun. Moon is revolving around the Earth. So moon is the natural satellite of Earth, but the entire setup is revolving around the sun. Some facts or factoids about the moon. Moon, it takes about 27 days to travel around the Earth. As I told you, moon travels around the Earth. Remember, moon itself is not spinning on its axis. That's why we see only one face of the moon, right? So very important thing to be understood, that moon travels around the Earth. 27 days to travel around Earth. And we can only see moon because it is reflecting light from the sun. That's why I told you moon is actually not a luminous body. It is simply reflecting light from the sun. Apart from that, our Earth is almost 4 times bigger than the moon. Till now, only 12 people have been to moon, and their footprints will be there. If somebody has put a footprint in Apollo 11, people have put footprint on the moon. It is going to be there because moon does not have any atmosphere. Moon does not have any oxygen, nothing, right? Apart from that, in our solar system, there are about 200 or more than 200 moons or natural satellites. In fact, 180 of them are of only Jupiter and Saturn approximately. Moon was formed about 4.6 billion years ago, and moon also has massive craters and mountains on it. All right. Moon also impacts the tides, I told you. So these are some of the facts about it. And as I told you, that moon revolves around the Earth. That is why we see different phases of moon. Now, there is a school activity also. It says that for the next 27 days or 28 days, what you do, in many of the calendars, that is the month, right? That is the month. In fact, in the Hindu calendar, that itself is the month. We say Amavasya, we say Purnima. That is 14 days, approximately 27 to 28 days. It makes a month. And every 3 years, there is an extra month, which is called as Adhik Mas. You know that. Why? Because moon is revolving around the Earth, and we see different phases of Earth. Sun is at one place, of course. Earth is revolving on its own axis, and this entire system is revolving around the sun. And that is why the sun's light, you can see here. Now this would be the no moon day, or the Amavasya, basically, on this side, and this would be the full moon side. So we see different phases of moon. All right. Now, moon's endless dance around sun, it constitutes approximately a month. So full moon and a no moon or a new moon day every month we observe. And also, please remember, we can only see the one side of moon. This is the face of moon that is visible, but the other side of moon is never visible to us because it has not even seen sunlight. It is pristine, it is pure. Apart from that, if you look at moon's surface, as I already told you, moon's surface is not plain surface. Moon's surface has steep and high mountains, and many evidences of pictures, they have shown that the mountains are as high as mountains on Earth. There are different kind of craters. Some scientific evidences have come that probably ice is there on moon. In fact, there is a lot of research that is going on for moon. If there is any mission which is scheduled for moon, please keep a track of that. From Indian side, there is Chandrayaan-3, which has been scheduled at the end of this year or at the beginning of 2024. From US, there is already Artemis mission, which is running. From Russia, there is Luna mission, right? There is a Chang mission which is running from China. So keep a track of these missions as well from current affairs perspective. Now, Paheli asks here, I have heard that we never see the backside of the moon from the earth. Is it true? Absolutely true. It is true. We never see the backside of the moon. So moon is the brightest and the biggest celestial body that we see from earth, but it is not the only body. We already know stars. When I see the night sky, I look at so many stars. There are thousands of stars. There are millions of stars which are visible. Right? I cannot even count. Right? What are these stars? These stars are celestial objects or astronomical objects which have their own light. These are considered as fundamental or building blocks of any galaxy. Every galaxy is made up of stars. And our own galaxy is a galaxy called as Milky Way. And in the Milky Way galaxy, we have our own star, that is Sun, and that is our system, the solar system. Suns were created with the Big Bang itself at the beginning of the universe, around 13 billion years ago, right? So stars are the celestial bodies, and the nearest star that we see, as I told you, in the night sky, you see so many stars which are twinkling, and you do know twinkling of the stars is an optical illusion. It's because of the atmosphere, because of the air present in the atmosphere. They do not twinkle per se, but they have their own light. Stars are luminous objects. I told you our sun, it undergoes some sort of a thermonuclear fusion reaction because of which it releases heat and light both. So sun is the nearest star to us because sun, we are in the solar system itself, and sun is approximately 150 million kilometers away from earth. And the next nearest star to us is something called as Proxima Centauri, and the distance from earth is approximately whatever number, this is huge number. So there are many stars, and that is why, since the distance between earth and celestial objects is quite high, we measure that distance in terms of light year. Now we all know that light travels at a speed of about 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second, and the amount of light traveled in 1 year, it is called as light year. And one of the stars, Alpha Centauri, it is about 4.3 light years. That means light, after traveling for 4.3 years, that is the distance of Alpha Centauri from earth. Imagine the universe, how big is it? It is huge, and it is ever expanding. In fact, NASA says that moon itself is getting away from earth by approximately 3 to 3.2 centimeters every year. That's the evidence of Big Bang. The universe is continuously expanding. So our star is the sun, and we see so many stars, right? See, Paheli is asking a question. If light from stars takes years to reach us, I wonder if we are looking into the past when we look at the stars. It's a question that many students ask, and the answer for this would be yes, absolutely. See, if I am able to see light from Alpha Centauri, that means that light originated about 4.3 light years before. And when I get the light here, from sun, I get the light here approximately in 8 minutes, right? Approximately in around 8 minutes, etc. Right? But when you look at the star, I am observing that star. When the light has reached here, what has happened as of today? That star might have already died. That star, it may not be there itself, or it is losing its energy. Anything can be happening. So what Paheli is asking, is it from the past? Yes, it's actually, the light is actually from the past. And Bujo asks that I want to know, why do we not see stars during the day? The answer for this is quite understandable, because if you look at sky, there are stars. They're not going anywhere. Stars can be seen, but during the daytime we have sunlight, and because of this sunlight, I do not get the light from these stars. I cannot observe those stars. So during the daytime also, stars would be there itself. And many times I see that the stars are moving. For instance, if I'm watching the stars, or if I'm sky watching, say at 9 p.m. in the night, one particular star I'm observing, it is at one location. After 4 or 5 hours, it has changed its location. So is the star changing its location? No, the star is not changing its location. It is the earth which is revolving. It is the earth which is changing its position continuously. That is why I see that stars also change their position. Why? Because we know that earth rotates from west to east. That is why I see that stars appear to move from east to west. And that's why I see, now I understand why the sun appears to rise in the east and set in the west. But it is not the sun which is rising and setting, it is the earth which is revolving. Sun is actually stationary. The day and night is because of earth's rotation. So very similar to how sun sets and sun rises, stars also rise, stars also set. Clear? It's because of earth's revolution. Now apart from that, there is one particular star which appears almost stationary to us. That is called as pole star or north star. Now we know that Earth's axis is tilted by 22.5 degrees and absolutely above the North Pole. This is the North Pole, and just above the North Pole there is one particular star, pole star, which seems as if it is fixed in the sky. During the ancient time and the medieval time, the sea travelers or the seafarers, they used to use this pole star as a reference to move towards north direction. Now why this pole star is stationary? There is a small experiment here. Imagine that you have an umbrella and you create stars at different ends and try to revolve this umbrella. There is one star in the middle. Does this star move? No. So this is like the pole star. All the other stars, they seem like they are moving because Earth is rotating, but Earth's rotation has no impact on the pole star because the pole star is right above the North Pole. And of course, it is not visible from the southern hemisphere. You do know that. Right? So pole star is one star which appears to be stationary. Now apart from this, when you observe the night sky, you see that some of the brightest stars, they tend to create some sort of patterns, and those patterns we have given the name as constellation. So stars forming a group which is a recognizable shape, it is called as a constellation. And this constellation was used by ancient people or people from ancient times. They were able to recognize the sky looking at these constellations and how these shapes are created. One of the well-known constellation for us is the Ursa Major, right? In ancient Hindi, we do know it as Saptarishi, right? Saptarishi, 7 stars which create a structure or a shape very similar to a ladle or a spoon. You can see 7 stars have been given the name Marichi, Vashishta, Angiras, Atri, Pulasaya, Pulaha, Kratu, right? So it makes a shape very similar to a spoon or a ladle. So based on this knowledge itself, astronomy was developed, one of the ideas. Apart from this, there are many other constellations we see, right? The Great Bear constellation, the Orion constellation, the Cassiopeia constellation, Leo Major, right? All these constellations have been created based on the shape the brightest star creates. Now, please remember that in any constellation, when I look at the stars, they talk about the brightest stars. There may be some other stars in it which are not taken up for consideration for creating that particular shape. Now, some questions are asked. You will see that constellation appears to move in the sky from east to west, again because of the rotation of the earth. Also, Bujo says that I have heard that we can locate the pole star with the help of Ursa Major. As I told you, Ursa Major, Saptarishi. Yes, we can locate it. Why? Because when you look at the Ursa Major, as I told you, it creates a shape very similar to ladle or a spoon. And the 2 stars at the edge, they align exactly with the pole star. And that is why even if the constellation, it seems as if it is revolving or rotating because of the Earth's rotation, I can locate the pole star, right? Because at any point in the rotation, if I draw a line from these 2 stars, I will reach the pole star. So I will see that this is the axis of rotation of the Earth. All right. Now, apart from this, there are many other constellations we know, like Orion. Orion is a very well-known constellation that can be seen, especially during the winter. It looks something like this. It looks like the sound-making toy, right? And from there also, there are 3 stars in the middle in this particular shape of Orion. And when I draw a straight line from these 3 stars, I will get the star Sirius. Sirius is the next brightest star. Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky apart from sun. This is the next brightest star. I can locate Sirius by simply drawing a middle line from the Orion constellation. Apart from this, there are many constellations. As I told you, there is Leo, Leo Major, Leo Minor. There is one more constellation called Cassiopeia. That is another constellation which is very visible during the winter season, and it makes a shape like W, or if you look from different perspective, it looks even like M or W, especially during the winter season. And please remember, normally this is something which has been created, or which has been developed from ancient time. People used to look at these constellations and estimate or assume or give explanation regarding the seasons or upcoming changes, etc. Right? And constellations, they just do not have 5 to 10 bright stars. As I told you, in the constellation, you can see here, these are the bright stars, 5 to 6 bright stars, which create the Cassiopeia constellation. But there are many other stars which are here. Only the bright stars are considered for that constellation. Clear? Right. So this was about the constellation. Let's move on. Let's talk about solar system now. As I told you, for us, there are so many stars which are visible. But for us, the main star for life, which is responsible for life, would be sun. Because it is because of the heat and light of the sun, Earth is habitable. And around this sun, or around our own star, there are different planets which are revolving. There are 8 planets which are revolving. Apart from these planets, there are some other celestial bodies or astronomical bodies, right? Like asteroids, meteoroids, comets, etc. We'll talk about them one by one. As I told you, first one, the most important in the solar system is the sun. Sun is at the center and other planets revolve around it. And our planet is Earth. Earth revolves around the sun. So Earth is basically like any other member of solar system, which is a planet, which revolves around the sun. It's not just Earth. There are many other planets. There are 8 planets. There is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Now, Mercury, Venus, Earth. The closest to Earth is Venus. All right. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. These are non-gaseous or non-Jovian planets. The other 4 are mostly gas giants: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Now, when I was in school, in my syllabus, I read that there were 9 planets in the solar system. My belief was 9 itself, because I studied the same thing in school. But in 2006, Pluto was dropped as a planet by the International Astronomical Union, because the definition of planet itself was changed. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union, which basically gives the criteria for defining a planet, it gave 3 criteria. First of all, it said that it must orbit a star. Now, Pluto does it. We know Pluto does it. Pluto orbits the sun for many years. In fact, during my formative years, I remembered 9 planets. Suddenly, after 2006, I had to change my knowledge, right? So Pluto, it does orbit the sun. The second one is, it must be big enough to have enough gravity to force it into spherical shape. Pluto also does this. Pluto is spherical in shape, but Pluto does not satisfy the third condition. It must be big enough that its gravity cleared away any other object of similar size near its orbit around the sun. So Pluto does not satisfy the third condition. That is why Pluto has been dropped from the planet list, and it has been put into the list of dwarf planets. Even after billions of years, Pluto has not been able to clear away any other objects which are of similar size in and around its impact or gravity impact. So there are many dwarf planets. There is Ceres, there is Makemake, there is now Pluto also as dwarf planet. And as I told you, the main or the center of our solar system is the sun. Sun is the nearest planet for us. Sun undergoes thermonuclear fusion reaction. Hydrogen is continuously burning in the sun. In our subsequent discussions, we'll also talk about some of the other characteristics of sun. In fact, in geography also, you'll talk about different stars or the life cycle of a star, that it moves from the nebulae to a star, a red giant, then ultimately it can become a black hole or a neutrino star. The life cycle of star, it goes on. Sun undergoes thermonuclear fusion reaction. That is why we get the light and energy on Earth. Because of sun, life is sustainable here. Now, I told you, around the sun, every planet is revolving, and they revolve in a specific path called as orbit. Now, why this orbit is set? This orbit is set because of the gravitational force or the gravitational interaction between sun and that particular planet, right? And many a times what happens is there are other celestial bodies. For example, if this is Earth, around Earth, I have moon which is revolving, right? I have moon which is revolving. So moon is like a natural satellite. So anything revolving around the Earth, it becomes Earth's satellite. So moon is the natural satellite. So Paheli asks a question here that since moon is the natural satellite of Earth, she also asks, can I consider Earth to be satellite of sun? Yes, of course, Earth can be a satellite of sun, but we do not use the term satellite per se. We have created terms called as planets. All right. So satellite is something which revolve around the planet. And I told you in our solar system, there are more than 200 moons. For Earth, there's only one. For Mars, there are two, Phobos and Deimos. For Jupiter, there are more than 80. For Saturn also, there are more than 80, right? In fact, many of the satellites we do not even know. All right. So these are celestial objects. We understood sun, we understood other celestial objects. Let's talk about the different planets. We have 8 major planets. The first planet and the nearest planet to the sun, our star, is Mercury, which is also called Budh. In Hindi, it's called Budh. Mercury is nearest to sun, and even during the night, it's not visible to us. I cannot see it because it's so bright, so close to sun, it is very difficult for us to observe that. It is mostly hidden in sunlight or sun's glare. However, we can observe especially during the sunset. During the horizon, it looks like a bright star itself. All right. And remember, Mercury has no satellite and it rotates very similar to Earth from west to east. All right. The second planet is Venus. Remember, Venus is called Shukra, and ISRO is also planning one particular mission probably in 2024. The news had come that the project can be delayed a little. We are planning for a mission to Shukrayaan 1, where we are going to send an orbiter to study Venus, right? It is the nearest neighbor. Everybody thinks that the nearest neighbor is Mars. No, the nearest neighbor is actually Venus. Sometimes Venus comes very close to Earth when it is revolving, and many a times we can observe it especially during the sunrise or sunset. Yes, we can see it. That's why it is also called morning star or evening star. It is very easy to locate Venus. It looks like a bright star. Apart from that, please remember, Venus has no moon. It does not have any satellites. And very interesting thing about Venus is that the rotation of Venus on its own axis is unusual. It rotates from west to east, from east to west. Remember, Earth rotates from west to east, right? From W to E. And that is why we see that the sun rises in the east and sun sets in the west. But if you are able to go to Venus, hypothetically, if I am on Venus, sun would be rising in the west, sun would be setting in the east, whatever time period it has. All right. Now, apart from Venus, there is one more planet. We'll talk about that. There are only 2 planets which revolve or rotate in opposite direction. That is from east to west. So this is about Mercury and Venus. The next planet Earth. We all know we live on Earth. It's called Prithvi, Earth. Now, this is the only planet on which life is sustainable. We have life here. We have, or we can say that Earth comes in that Goldilocks zone where the temperature, all the necessary factors for sustaining life can be seen. We have atmosphere, we have oxygen, we have carbon dioxide. We have another ozone layer to protect us from ultraviolet radiation of sun. That is why life is sustainable here. And that is why we need to protect Earth. We need to protect the ozone layer. We need to protect the atmosphere. We need to protect the environment. We need to protect Earth as a biosphere. Apart from Earth, there is Mars. That is Mangal. Mars appears as a reddish because of presence of a lot of iron oxides. So it appears as a reddish planet, and it has 2 natural satellites. I told you, Phobos and Deimos, and we have already sent an orbiter to Mars. ISRO has sent Mangalyaan mission in 2014. It reached Mars, but by 2021-22 we have already lost contact with that orbiter. Now, apart from these solid, I would say solid planets, there are some gas giants. Jupiter is also called Brihaspati. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. It is a gaseous giant. It is a giant of a planet. And just imagine the size. I told you moon is about 1/4 of Earth. That means Earth is 4 times that of moon, and Jupiter is 318 times that of Earth, and it rotates very rapidly on its own axis. It has large number of satellites. Till today we do not know how many exactly. Recently NASA has suggested that it has 90 plus moons. Imagine if I am on Jupiter, hypothetically, if I am on Jupiter, I'll be seeing 90 moons around. All right. Apart from that, we can observe this. We can observe Jupiter using the telescope, and for many years there is some sort of uh, curiosity. NASA has sent many missions. NASA has sent Juno mission to study Jupiter, right? Recently, in the upcoming years also, there are some missions going to study Jupiter's moons. Some of Jupiter's moons, they are not gaseous. Some of Jupiter moons have gravity and they are solid apparently. So to study them, NASA and European Space Agency, they are sending some missions to Jupiter's moons. Apart from Jupiter, there is Saturn. Saturn is Shani Graha. Remember, Jupiter also has faint rings which are not visible per se, but rings around Saturn are quite visible. It is yellowish in color. Again, it is yellowish in color. It is gaseous giant. The rings cannot be seen directly. That means if I look at sky, I can look at one particular celestial object which is shining a little. I can say that is Saturn, but I cannot see its rings. Its rings cannot be seen. From a small telescope, I can observe. Saturn also has many natural satellites, approximately more than 80. Apart from that, there are 2 more planets, that is Uranus and Neptune. Right? Uranus is the 7th planet, and it's very strange. It's very strange that it rotates at an almost 90-degree angle. I told you that if this is Sun, if I look at Earth, Earth is revolving around the Sun, and Earth is also revolving at one particular angle, right? Around 22.5 degree angle. It is revolving on its own axis or spinning on its own axis. But Uranus is very peculiar. Uranus, it revolves around its own axis in almost a 90-degree angle, almost tilted, very, very tilted. Apart from that, Uranus is another peculiar planet which rotates in a different direction. I told you Earth rotates from west to east, Uranus east to west. Neptune is the 8th and the distant planet. It is dark colored, and this was basically deciphered through mathematical calculation. It is said that there are many supersonic winds which can be detected on Neptune. This data has been given by space agencies like ISRO, NASA, ESA, etc. This was about the 8 planets that we have. Apart from these planets, let me just give you an overview. Please remember, Mars is smaller than Earth, almost half the size of the Earth. So if you look at the size, then Mercury, it is smaller. Venus and Earth almost similar in size. Mars is actually smaller than Earth, but the biggest planet is Jupiter, and after that we have Saturn. Just look at this image. It will give you an idea of how big Jupiter is. Our Earth, it looks just like this in terms of, or in comparison with the Jupiter. So Jupiter, Saturn, big gas giant planets. Now, apart from these planets, in our solar system, we also have other celestial bodies like asteroids and comets. Now, these asteroids are big rocky fragments which are again revolving around the sun. They are also revolving around the sun, and we can watch them using telescopes. Asteroids are mostly found in one particular belt. Remember, asteroids are found in one particular belt. Almost 2 million asteroids are somewhere in a belt between Mars and Jupiter. So a belt between Mars and Jupiter is called asteroid belt, where we will find big asteroids. Some of the asteroids can be seen anywhere in the solar system. Those are called as Trojan asteroids. You must have seen many movies. For example, there was an old movie which I saw almost in 2000s, at the beginning of the 21st century, Armageddon. Bruce Willis movie. It talks about the one kind of asteroid which is coming and it is about to hit the Earth, right? So that is a rocky fragment coming and hitting the Earth. But comet is another body, another celestial body which revolves around the Earth. If this is Sun, then a comet, it moves in an elliptical orbit, something like this. And comet, it has a perceptible tail. Comet is not exactly a solid body, it is a gaseous giant. It is composed of ice, gas, frozen particles, and some dust particles, which is continuously moving in a highly elliptical orbit around the Sun, right? So comets, they come from two different places. You must have heard about Halley's comet, which comes approximately 75, 70, which is visible in 75 to 76 years once. These comets, they come from a belt called as Kuiper belt. This Kuiper belt is also called icy world. It is home to many planets. Kuiper belt is beyond Neptune. Neptune is the last planet or the last giant planet of solar system. Beyond Neptune's orbit, we have Kuiper belt, and in this Kuiper belt, many comets can be seen. These comets come and revolve around the Sun in an elliptical orbit. But many a times, long duration comets can also come from the edge of the solar system. Again, this is a hypothetical idea. Scientists have given it a name called as Oort cloud. Oort cloud is considered as the edge of the solar system, from where long duration comets come. Some of the comets, they come once in 700 years, right? There is one particular comet called as Pons. It visits, or we can observe that on Earth approximately 750 years, once in 750 years. So such long duration comets, apparently they come from a place called as Oort cloud, revolve around Sun, and in this particular orbit they go back. All right, so remember, asteroids are big rock or big solid material which we can find in one particular belt, asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Comets are icy bodies or icy celestial bodies with a perceptible tail. Whenever there is a comet which is going on, or if you're a sky gazer, you will watch a comet shows a perceptible tail. Those are made up of dust, ice, and some other solid particles, and again they also revolve around the Sun in a highly elliptical orbit. Apart from this, we also have some other bodies called as meteoroids. Meteoroids are much smaller than asteroids. Meteoroids are rocky metallic fragments, and if this meteoroid, it enters the Earth atmosphere, it becomes a meteor. And many a times you must have seen meteor shower, right? Every year there is a meteor shower at one particular period. Whenever the Earth is revolving, some meteoroids or smaller rocky fragments, they enter Earth atmosphere, and once they enter Earth atmosphere, they start to burn up because of friction. We have atmosphere, we have air, there is friction, and because of this friction, those meteoroids, they start burning up, and we see beautiful shooting stars, right? Whatever we say shooting stars, they are actually meteors. Many a times we see meteor showers. Different meteor shower names are also present. If you go to NASA website, one of the best idea to prepare for this particular topic connected to space is go to NASA website. You'll get a lot of knowledge there, right? Say Perseid meteor shower, right? One of the examples of meteor shower. And if that meteor, it reaches you, if that meteor, it reaches Earth's surface, it is called as meteorite. Meteoroid is a meteor fragment which reaches the ground, and if it reaches the ground, that means it is going to hit or impact on Earth's surface, and once it impacts the Earth's surface, it is going to create a depression, and over a period of time, in that depression, if water fills, we can get meteoroid based lakes. One of the example of meteoroid based lake is the Lonar Lake from Maharashtra, right? So different bodies can be seen: asteroids, bigger rocky fragments; comets, mostly icy particles, icy dust particles with a perceptible trail. Then there is meteoroid, smaller rocky fragments. As soon as a meteoroid enters the atmosphere, it becomes meteor. It starts burning up with beautiful bright light. And if it has enough energy, if it has enough mass, it might reach Earth's surface, it might blast off. It's called meteorite. Okay. Apart from this, we have also launched so many satellites. Moon is the natural satellite of Earth, but we have launched more than 8,000 satellites. I'm talking about the entire humanity. I'm not talking about ISRO alone, but ISRO, NASA, European Space Agency, etc. As of today, we have around 8,000 satellites in and around the orbit of the Earth, right? Say ISRO has launched many satellites like this, you can see. So these have also become a part of now solar system because they revolve around the Earth. They help us for communication, they help us for remote sensing, they help us in navigation, whatever GPS you use, whatever remote sensing you do, right? You communicate all this through your satellites itself. So this is the basic structure of our solar system, where we have sun, which is the ultimate form of energy. Sun is one of the stars. Around sun, the other bodies are revolving. The planets are revolving around the planets. The satellites are revolving, and some other bodies like asteroids, they are revolving specifically in an asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Comets can be long duration or short duration. Short duration climates, they come from Kuiper belts. Long duration planets, they come from a place called as Oort cloud. So this was about the chapter on stars and the solar system. Again, if you like this discussion, you can always follow me on this particular ID. If you have any doubts, queries, etc., you can always reach out to me on Instagram. I do respond on Saturdays and Sundays. That's the end of today's discussion. We'll meet again in the next chapter in the NCERT Science series. Thank you for watching this. Jai Hind.